If someone pulls away like this, they're emotionally attached. Psychology tricks. Let me speak to you directly. When someone pulls away, don't rush to label it as rejection. Distance does not automatically mean disinterest. In many cases, it signals the opposite. As Khalil Gibran once wrote, love knows not its own depth until the hour of separation. Space can reveal depth. It can expose how much someone feels and how strongly those feelings affect them. Most men see a shift in behavior and immediately assume they are being phased out. That reaction is emotional, not strategic. Don't do that. Be steady. Emotional attachment rarely shows up as constant pursuit. It often shows up as hesitation, silence, and a need to regulate overwhelming feelings. When a person starts caring deeply, their mind speeds up. They analyze your words. They replay conversations. They question whether they're doing too much or too little. Sometimes they step back, not to escape you, but to manage the intensity inside themselves. That is not a game. That is emotional investment mixed with vulnerability. You must learn to read patterns, not isolated moments. Consistency matters more than temporary distance. Do they still show up? Do they respond with depth when they engage? Do their actions over time reflect care? That is what counts. Emotional attachment is rarely loud. It is controlled, measured, sometimes conflicted. And if you misinterpret caution as indifference, you will sabotage something real. Strong men don't panic at distance. They observe. They stay composed. They respond with calm confidence instead of insecurity. In this discussion, you will learn to recognize when pulling away is actually a sign of attachment and how to respond in a way that builds trust instead of pressure. Don't chase shadows. See clearly. Act wisely. That is how connection deepens. 1. When distance hides desire. When distance hides desire, most men jump to the wrong conclusion. They see space and assume rejection. They see slower replies and assume loss of interest. Don't rush to that verdict. Be calm. Be observant. That is where maturity begins. In many cases, when a woman pulls away, it is not because she feels nothing, it is because she feels too much. This is one of those psychology tricks that changes everything once you understand it. The more emotionally attached she becomes, the more carefully she may begin to move. Not because she wants to leave, but because she does not want to lose control. Female psychology is layered. When her emotions deepen, vulnerability increases. And vulnerability can feel risky. She may crave your attention, replay your conversations in her head, smile at your messages in private, yet still choose to step back publicly. Why? Because she does not want to appear needy. She does not want to feel exposed. She does not want to risk giving more than she receives. That internal tension, wanting you and protecting herself at the same time, creates distance. And if you misunderstand it, you sabotage something real. Imagine this clearly. She was texting consistently, laughing, engaging, making time. Then suddenly she slows down. Fewer messages, less initiation, a cooler tone. Your instinct says she's fading. But that assumption is emotional laziness. Don't react emotionally. Think strategically. Often what is happening inside her is far more intense than what you see outside. She is analyzing everything. Did she reveal too much? Did she text too often? Did she look too eager? She is not pulling away because she doesn't care. She is regulating herself because she cares deeply. This is emotional attachment in motion. When feelings grow, caution grows with them. That is how to fall in love without feeling out of control, by pacing yourself. She may be trying to do exactly that. These are psychology tricks rooted in self-protection, not rejection. And if you misread them, you will create the very distance you fear. Men over 35 should know this by now. Real connection does not always look dramatic. It does not always come with fireworks and constant intensity. Sometimes it looks like hesitation. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like space. But look closer. Does she still check your stories? Does she respond thoughtfully even if slowly? Does she remember small details you shared? Does she reappear after brief quiet periods? That is not detachment. That is attachment with caution. Female psychology often expresses care indirectly. She may not flood you with affection when emotions feel strong. She may instead pull back to see if you lean forward, not to manipulate you, but to feel safe, to feel chosen, to feel that her emotional investment is not one-sided. Do not confuse reduced frequency with reduced interest. Be measured. Be steady. That is power. When you understand these psychology tricks, you stop chasing panic and start leading with calm strength. And here is the deeper truth. People who feel nothing rarely need space. Indifference is simple. Emotional investment is complicated. If she truly did not care, she would detach cleanly. No analysis, no subtle check-ins, no thoughtful replies, no emotional fluctuations, just absence. But when someone is attached, there is push and pull. There is warmth followed by restraint. There is closeness followed by recalibration. That emotional rhythm is not a red flag. It is often the sign that something meaningful is forming. This is how to fall in love in a healthy way, not by clinging, not by overwhelming, but by allowing space without fear. You must stop measuring interest only by speed and frequency. Measure it by consistency over time. Measure it by emotional depth. Measure it by whether she remains present in subtle ways. The mature man does not panic over temporary distance. He observes patterns. He remains centered. He does not send paragraphs demanding reassurance. He does not withdraw out of pride. He stays balanced. That balance is attractive. That steadiness invites safety. And safety allows feelings to grow. Remember this clearly. When she pulls away slightly after growing closer, it may mean she is protecting something valuable. If you respond with pressure, you confirm her fear. If you respond with calm confidence, you reduce it. That is the difference between losing momentum and deepening connection. These psychology tricks are not about manipulation. They are about understanding emotional dynamics. Female psychology is not a puzzle to solve aggressively. It is a rhythm to read carefully. And when you learn how to fall in love with patience instead of panic, you create space for real attachment to breathe. So next time you notice distance, pause. Don't assume the worst. Don't overreact. Don't flood her with insecurity. Instead, stay grounded. Give her room without disappearing. Show warmth without desperation. That is emotional intelligence in action. That is maturity. Distance does not always mean she is leaving. Sometimes it means she feels something strong enough to fear losing. And when you understand that, you stop chasing reassurance and start building connection the right way. 2. Overthinking you is her secret proof of care. Overthinking you is her secret proof of care. Read that again. Let it settle. Most men get this wrong. They see hesitation and think doubt. They see a delayed reply and think distance. Don't make that mistake. Be sharper than that. When a woman is emotionally attached, she overthinks you constantly. That is not confusion. That is investment. Every word you say, every joke, every pause in your tone gets replayed in her mind like a scene she refuses to delete. She reads your message twice, then 3 times. She wonders if her reply sounded warm enough. She asks herself if she revealed too much. This is not insecurity spiraling out of control. It is care trying to get it right. A woman who feels nothing does not analyze you. She does not replay conversations while brushing her teeth. She does not imagine how you interpreted her smile. Indifference is simple. Attachment is detailed. When she is attached, her mind becomes a strategist. She replays your last interaction. She studies your reactions. She mentally prepares for the next time she sees you. That mental energy is not random. It is focused on you. And attention is currency. Think about it calmly. If she were not emotionally invested, would she spend hours wondering whether you liked her last message? Would she question whether she came on too strong? Would she care whether you are thinking about her when she is not there? No. She would move on with her day. But when she is attached, her thoughts circle back to you again and again. That is emotional gravity. And if you are a high-value man, you recognize it without panic. You don't rush to fix it. You don't mock it. You understand it. Because mature masculine energy does not react emotionally to every shift in tone. It observes. It interprets. It stays grounded. Overthinking is her way of protecting the connection. She wants to show interest, but not overwhelm you. She wants to express desire, but not feel exposed. So she calibrates. She edits herself. She chooses words carefully. Every pause in her response is her balancing desire with caution. Don't assume silence equals withdrawal. Be wise enough to see the tension behind it. She is asking herself, am I saying too much? Am I texting too often? Does he feel the same? That internal dialogue is proof you matter. When you attract women at a deeper level, this is what happens. They do not become careless. They become intentional. Here is where many men sabotage themselves. They see your hesitation and push harder. They demand reassurance. They pull away in pride. Don't do that. Be steady. That is strength. A high-value man understands that emotional attachment does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it pauses before it speaks. Sometimes it hides behind careful wording and delayed replies. If you misread caution as disinterest, you will create unnecessary distance. If you respond with patience, you give her nervous system permission to relax. And when she relaxes, she opens. Understand this clearly. Overthinking is not a flaw. It is emotional attachment in disguise. It means she values your perception. It means she cares about how she shows up in your life. It means she is mentally investing in the outcome. That is not something to criticize. That is something to respect. Mature masculine energy does not shame emotional depth. It stabilizes it. When you attract women through calm confidence instead of pressure, you become the safe place she is overthinking about. And let's go deeper. When she replays conversations, she is not just analyzing words. She is searching for meaning. She is measuring consistency. She is asking herself if you are emotionally safe. That is why your response matters. If you stay grounded, if you stay composed, if you don't overreact to small fluctuations, you signal strength. Not loud strength. Controlled strength. That is what a high-value man embodies. You must be at a steady frame when her emotions feel intense. Not dismissive. Not reactive. Steady. Emotional attachment is rarely obvious in the early stages. It does not always show up as constant texting or dramatic declarations. Sometimes it shows up as thoughtful spacing, as careful phrasing, as subtle checking in. She might not say, "I'm thinking about you all the time," but her behavior reveals it. She remembers details. She references past conversations. She adjusts her tone to match yours. That is investment. And the men who truly attract women are the ones who notice patterns instead of obsessing over moments. So when you sense her hesitation, don't label it as withdrawal. Ask yourself a better question. Is she being careful because she cares? Most of the time, the answer is yes. Overthinking you is her quiet confession. It is her heart trying not to trip over itself. If you respond with calm confidence, you create safety. If you stay centered in your masculine energy, you allow her to soften naturally. Emotional attachment does not always shout. Sometimes it studies. Sometimes it edits. Sometimes it overthinks. But when a woman is constantly analyzing her connection with you, you already occupy space in her world. Recognize that. Respect it. And rise to it like a high-value man who understands that depth is earned, not rushed. If this opened your eyes, don't ignore it. Don't misread her silence. Don't mistake her careful words for distance. That pause? That delayed reply? That thoughtful message? That is emotional investment. That is attachment moving carefully, not disappearing. Be the man who understands depth instead of reacting to surface behavior. When you respond with patience and steady confidence, you become the safe place she's silently hoping for. If you're starting to see it clearly now, drop this in the comments. I recognize emotional attachment when I see it. Like this video, subscribe for more sharp psychological insights, and remember, pulling back isn't always leaving. Sometimes it's caring too much to risk losing you. 3. Her silence is louder than words. When she goes quiet, do not rush to label it as distance. Understand this clearly. Her silence can be louder than any confession. Most men misread this moment because they react instead of observing. They assume silence equals loss of interest. That is a mistake. When a woman pulls back and becomes quiet, it often signals emotional attachment, not detachment. As Blaise Pascal said, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. The same truth applies in relationships. When emotions run deep, words feel insufficient. She withdraws not to escape you, but to process you. Not to abandon the connection, but to understand it. A woman who feels nothing does not need silence. She simply moves on. But a woman who feels deeply must pause. She must think. She must protect her heart. That is emotional investment. In modern life, where texting is instant and attention is cheap, silence feels threatening. You see the unread message. You see the delayed reply. Your mind creates stories. Stop. Control the narrative. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us to focus only on what is within our control, your reaction. Her quiet moments are not a battlefield. They are a mirror. If she still shows up, if she still remembers the small details about your day, if she still makes subtle efforts, then understand this. She is emotionally attached. Her mind is engaged. Her heart is involved. She may hesitate before responding because she cares about how she appears. She may pause because she does not want to seem overeager. She may withdraw slightly because strong feelings require internal balance. That is not disinterest. That is depth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Remember that. Her silence is an outside event. Your composure is your power. When you respond with calm instead of panic, you demonstrate strength. When you give space without resentment, you demonstrate confidence. That is how trust is built. That is how emotional safety grows. This is the path of Stoicism win. Not reacting emotionally, not demanding constant reassurance, but holding steady, holding firm, holding center. Look at patterns, not moments. One quiet afternoon means nothing. Consistent care means everything. Does she initiate sometimes? Does she ask about your well-being? Does she show up when it matters? These are signals of attachment. Emotional attachment is rarely loud. It is careful. It is measured. It is reflective. In a world addicted to noise, quiet investment is powerful. Do not confuse calm waters with empty depth. Often, the deepest waters are the stillest. Men between 35 and 70 have lived enough life to know that real connection is not fireworks every hour. It is consistency. It is respect. It is mutual thoughtfulness. When she processes internally, she is integrating you into her emotional world. That takes energy. That takes vulnerability. That takes courage. As Lao Tzu said, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." Silence can carry knowledge. Silence can carry care. Silence can carry attachment. Build an iron mind in these moments. Do not double text in panic. Do not interrogate. Do not withdraw to punish. Be steady. Be grounded. Be observant. That is masculine composure. That is emotional leadership. Iron mind means you remain calm even when uncertainty appears. Old Stoic wisdom reminds us that anxiety comes from interpretation, not reality. Interpret wisely. Interpret with strength. When you master this perspective, you change the entire dynamic. Instead of chasing reassurance, you become the source of stability. Instead of reacting emotionally, you create emotional safety. That is Stoicism win in action. That is how connections deepen over time. You must understand, attachment does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it pauses. Sometimes it breathes quietly before speaking. Her silence is not emptiness. It is processing. It is reflection. It is emotional caution because she values what is forming. If she truly did not care, there would be no hesitation, no careful wording, no thoughtful pauses. Indifference is quick. Attachment is careful. Indifference is simple. Attachment is complex. See the difference. So train your iron mind. Observe without fear. Respond without neediness. Lead with calm certainty. When you stop panicking at silence, you rise above insecurity. You step into emotional maturity. You win not by control, but by composure. Remember this deeply. Her quiet moments often mean she is thinking about you more than you realize. And the man who understands that truth, the man who stands steady in that space, is the man who masters himself and, in doing so, masters the relationship. 4. Subtle signals you're missing. Subtle signals you're missing are often the very proof you've been waiting for, and this is where most men over 35 get it wrong because they've been trained to look for fireworks instead of footprints. Every day, you may find yourself measuring interest by big gestures, long emotional messages, constant availability, or dramatic displays of affection, but real attachment rarely announces itself that loudly. It moves quietly, steadily, almost invisibly. That is one of the most powerful psychology tricks you must understand. When a woman is emotionally attached, she doesn't always run toward you. Sometimes she pulls back slightly, becomes more composed, more careful, more observant. Don't mistake that shift for disinterest. Be wise enough to see what's underneath it. In female psychology, emotional investment often makes her more self-aware, not less. She becomes thoughtful about how she shows up around you because now it matters. And when something matters, people become intentional. Think about the details she remembers, not the obvious ones, the small ones. The coffee order you changed 3 months ago, the story you told about your first job, the goal you mentioned casually on a Tuesday night when you didn't even think she was listening. She stores those details. She brings them up later. That is not random. That is attention with purpose. And attention is currency in emotional connection. One of the simplest psychology tricks to recognize attachment is this: people invest memory where they feel emotion. If she recalls the tiny specifics of your life, she is mentally rehearsing you when you are not present. That is attachment in action. That is how to fall in love slowly, through repetition, familiarity, and meaningful recall. Don't overlook it because it doesn't come wrapped in drama. Now look at behavior adjustments. This is where female psychology becomes subtle and powerful. When she likes you deeply, she calibrates herself around you. Her tone softens when you're stressed. Her humor aligns with yours. She becomes more engaged in topics you care about. She might not even realize she's doing it, but she is. That is emotional synchronization. And synchronization only happens when someone is invested. Don't dismiss these shifts as politeness. Be alert. When a person adjusts their rhythm to match yours, they are trying to create harmony. That is how to fall in love in real life, not through grand speeches, but through alignment, through small, consistent effort, through energy matching. Here's another layer most men misunderstand. When she pulls away slightly after moments of closeness, it can mean the feelings are growing, not fading. This confuses many men because they assume distance equals disinterest. But one of the deeper psychology tricks is understanding that emotional attachment can trigger caution. When emotions intensify, people instinctively protect themselves. She may take a little space to regulate her feelings, to make sure she's not moving too fast, to protect her heart. Don't chase impulsively. Don't panic. Be steady. If she's still remembering details, still checking in thoughtfully, still integrating you into her life in small ways, the attachment is there. Look at how she checks in. Not constantly, not desperately, but precisely. She texts at the moment she knows you have something important happening. She follows up on conversations you forgot you had. She sends something that only the two of you would understand. Inside jokes. Shared references. That is emotional exclusivity forming. In female psychology, exclusivity often starts mentally before it becomes verbal. She creates a private lane between you and her. That lane is built with subtle signals. And if you understand these psychology tricks, you'll see that exclusivity is one of the strongest indicators of attachment. Men often sabotage themselves here because they crave reassurance in loud forms. They want declarations, labels, certainty. But emotional maturity requires patience. Don't demand fireworks when you're being handed steady warmth. Be the man who observes patterns, not just moments. Emotional attachment is consistent. It repeats. It shows up in small, reliable ways. If she consistently invests attention, memory, energy, and subtle care, she is emotionally engaged. That is how to fall in love in a grounded, adult way, through consistency, not chaos. Notice also how she integrates you into her future conversations. She says we casually. She references events ahead of time, assuming you'll be there. She includes your preferences when making plans. These are micro commitments. They may seem small, but in female psychology, these are powerful indicators. She is mentally placing you inside her life structure. That doesn't happen casually. It happens when attachment feels safe enough to expand. Don't ignore those hints. Be perceptive. Another overlooked sign, emotional mirroring. When you open up slightly, she opens up proportionally. When you share a story, she responds with vulnerability of her own. This balanced exchange is not accidental. It is emotional pacing. One of the most important psychology tricks is understanding pacing. If she matches your depth without overwhelming you, she is carefully nurturing the connection. That is intentional investment. That is care. And here is where wisdom matters most. Once you start recognizing these subtle signals, you stop misinterpreting silence as rejection. You stop assuming that a slight pullback means loss of interest. Instead, you look at the full pattern. Is she consistent? Is she attentive? Does she remember? Does she adjust? Does she check in at meaningful times? If the answer is yes, attachment is present. It may be quiet. It may be controlled, but it is real. Don't rush to label. Don't pressure for clarity before the foundation is strong. Be calm. Emotional steadiness is attractive because it creates safety. When she feels safe, attachment deepens. That is how to fall in love in a mature dynamic through observation, patience, and strength. Not force, not insecurity. The truth is simple but powerful. Emotional attachment rarely screams. It whispers. It shows up in consistency, in memory, in subtle alignment, in thoughtful timing. If you train yourself to see these psychology tricks and understand female psychology at a deeper level, you won't be confused by temporary distance. You won't panic when things slow down. You will read the patterns. You will recognize investment. And when you do, everything changes. You move from reacting emotionally to responding strategically. You stop chasing noise and start valuing substance. That is emotional intelligence. That is maturity. And that is how you win, not by demanding love loudly, but by recognizing it quietly when it's already there. If this hit home, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a man who keeps mistaking silence for disinterest. And now I want you to lock this lesson in. Drop this in the comments so you train your eyes to see what most men miss. Comment this. I don't chase big gestures, I observe the small, consistent signals. 5. Torn between wanting you and protecting herself. Torn between wanting you and protecting herself. That is the tension most men misread. When a woman pulls away, your first instinct might be to assume she's losing interest. Don't jump to that conclusion. Be sharper than that. Here's what many men never fully understand. When she pulls back, it's often because she feels too much, not too little. She wants you. She feels the connection. But at the same time, she's trying to protect her heart, her balance, her sense of control. That internal conflict creates the push and pull dynamic that confuses so many men. And ironically, it is one of the clearest signs she is emotionally attached. Imagine this clearly. You've been spending real time together. Long conversations. Future plans slipping naturally into discussion. Laughter that stretches late into the night. Stories from your past that you don't tell just anyone. The connection feels solid. Then suddenly, she becomes quieter, slower to respond, slightly distant. You feel the shift. Your chest tightens. You wonder what changed. But what you don't see is the silent battle happening inside her. She wants to lean closer. She wants to open up more. Yet a voice inside says, slow down. Don't give too much. Don't lose yourself. That is not disinterest. That is emotional self-protection. The stronger the attachment, the stronger the awareness of risk. When she realizes how much you matter, she also realizes how much she could lose. That awareness creates caution, not because she doubts you entirely, not because she's playing games, but because vulnerability feels real now. This is where a high-value man separates himself from the reactive man. Don't panic. Don't pressure. Don't demand reassurance. Be steady. Be grounded. A high-value man understands that masculine energy is calm under uncertainty. It does not chase when things feel slightly unstable. It observes. It holds frame. It gives space without withdrawing affection. Her fear might whisper, "What if I get hurt? What if I invest too much? What if I depend too deeply?" And instead of rushing forward recklessly, she pulls back a step to regain emotional balance. That is maturity, not manipulation. Many men misinterpret this as mixed signals. It is not mixed. It is layered. She still makes subtle efforts. She still checks in. She still remembers the small details about your day. She still finds quiet ways to stay connected. Those small actions are everything. Watch consistency, not intensity. If you react with frustration, you confirm her fears. If you react with insecurity, you increase her doubt. But if you respond with patience and confidence, you become emotionally safe. And emotional safety is what allows attachment to deepen. This is how you attract women at a mature level. Not through pressure, not through constant pursuit, but through stability. Masculine energy thrives in calm confidence. When she feels that you are not shaken by temporary distance, she relaxes. She leans back in naturally. Understand this clearly. A high-value man does not interpret every shift as rejection. He understands emotional rhythm. He knows that attraction and attachment move in waves. He does not overreact to one quiet afternoon or a slower reply. He focuses on patterns. Does she still invest? Does she still show care in small ways? Does she circle back even after pulling away? That is your answer. You must become the man who sees beneath the surface. Don't label her caution as confusion. Don't assume distance equals disinterest. Be emotionally disciplined. That is masculine energy in action. When you hold steady, you create the space she needs to resolve her internal tension. And when she feels safe enough to lower her guard again, the bond becomes stronger than before. So when she pulls back, don't chase shadows. Stand firm. Stay warm but composed. A high-value man understands that sometimes the step back is not retreat, it is recalibration. And when you respond with grounded confidence, you don't just attract women. You build connection that lasts. 6. Watching you without saying a word. Watching you without saying a word is not indifference. It is investment. And most men miss it. When a woman is emotionally attached, she does not always become louder, needier, or more expressive. Often, she becomes quieter, more observant, more precise. She studies you the way someone studies something valuable, not to judge you, but to understand you. That is emotional attachment in action. You must understand this. Silence is not absence. Silence can be focus. She notices your routines. She tracks your mood shifts. She remembers the story you told months ago about your childhood. She knows how your voice changes when you are under pressure. That is not casual interest. That is care operating beneath the surface. As Maya Angelou said, people will never forget how you made them feel. When she is attached, she remembers how you feel and she stores it. She carries your emotional patterns in her mind. She adjusts her behavior based on what she has observed. That is connection without noise. In modern life, where everyone is distracted by phones, notifications, and constant stimulation, deep observation is rare. When someone pays close attention to you without demanding attention back, that is emotional investment. Do not misread it. Do not assume that because she is not flooding your phone with messages, she is detached. That is a mistake. And mistakes in interpretation cost men strong connections. Old Stoic wisdom teaches awareness before reaction. Stoicism win begins when you stop reacting to surface behavior and start reading underlying patterns. An iron mind does not jump to conclusions. It studies reality. Ask yourself, does she remember what matters to you? Does she bring up small details you forgot you even shared? Does she adjust her tone when you are stressed? That is not random. That is attachment expressed through attention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." If she pulls back slightly but continues to watch, notice, and respond thoughtfully, Do not panic. Control your interpretation. An iron mind sees what is there, not what fear invents. Emotional attachment often creates caution. When feelings grow deeper, people move more carefully, not less. She may hold back words because words make things real. She may observe more because she does not want to overstep. That is restraint, not rejection. And you must respond with grounded strength. Do not chase shadows. Do not demand reassurance. Be steady. Be aware. Old Stoic wisdom reminds you strength is calm perception. When you operate from Stoicism win, you recognize patterns instead of reacting to silence. You understand that attention is currency, and she is spending it on you. Every subtle glance, every remembered detail, every thoughtful pause before responding. That is investment. In today's world, many men confuse loud interest with real attachment. That is backward thinking. Real attachment is consistent awareness. It is quiet loyalty. It is emotional tracking without announcement. An iron mind sees that and remains composed. When someone pulls away slightly but continues to monitor, remember, and adjust around you, it often means the connection matters more than you realize. Depth creates caution. Caution creates space. Space does not mean distance. It often means significance. Repeat this to yourself. Silence is not absence. Observation is involvement. Attention is attachment. Let that idea sink in from multiple angles. See it clearly. Master your reaction. Stoicism win is not about suppressing emotion. It is about interpreting it wisely. Old Stoic wisdom trains you to respond with stability, not insecurity. When you embody an iron mind, you become the man who reads reality accurately. And that is power. That is emotional leadership. Do not rush to label her quiet moments as loss of interest. Instead, observe her consistency. Watch how she shows up in subtle ways. Notice how she stays mentally present. Awareness is your advantage. Use it. Master it. Win with it. If you understood this, you just unlocked a level most men never see. Don't confuse silence with indifference. Don't misread observation as distance. When she watches, remembers, and adjusts without announcing it, that is investment. That is emotional attachment moving quietly beneath the surface. Be the man who notices what others overlook. Be aware. Be sharp. If this message hit you, comment this below. I recognize silent attachment, and I respond with awareness. Like the video, subscribe, and step into the mindset of a man who sees clearly, because awareness changes everything. 7. Why your reactions can make or break her attachment. Why your reactions can make or break her attachment is not just a catchy phrase. It is a law of human connection, and if you are a man between 35 and 70, you must understand this with clarity and discipline. Here is what most men never fully grasp. When a woman pulls away, it does not automatically mean she is losing interest. Often, it means she feels something real. It means the connection has reached a level that requires emotional processing. That is where psychology tricks and a deeper understanding of female psychology become powerful tools. Don't panic. Don't assume the worst. Don't rush to fix what is not broken. A woman's emotional attachment is delicate, not because she lacks strength, but because she is fully aware of how much she is investing. When she begins to care deeply, she also becomes aware of the risk. That is human nature. That is how to fall in love for many women, slowly, cautiously, but intensely once they feel safe. When she pulls back, most men react from fear. They double text. They demand clarity. They question her feelings. They try to force reassurance. That is the mistake. You must understand this. Her pullback is often a sign of emotional overload. She is processing. She is evaluating. She is asking herself, is this safe? Can I trust this man with my heart? If you respond with anxiety, you confirm her fears. If you react with pressure, you increase her tension. If you accuse her of playing games, you show that you don't understand female psychology at all. And once that safety is shaken, attachment weakens. Not because she stopped caring, but because she no longer feels emotionally secure. Now listen carefully. A woman who truly feels nothing does not pull back thoughtfully. She drifts away casually. Silence without emotion is indifference. Distance filled with tension is attachment. This is one of the psychology tricks most men overlook. When she becomes quieter, more reflective, slightly hesitant, it is often because the connection matters. The emotional stakes are rising, and she is watching you. She is observing your reactions. She is measuring your emotional stability. That is where you either rise or fall. Be calm. Be grounded. Be steady. That is not optional. That is essential. When she senses that you remain composed, even when she becomes distant, you send a powerful message. I am not shaken by emotions. I can handle depth. This is how to fall in love in a mature, lasting way. It is not about dramatic passion. It is about emotional safety. When she sees that you are not reactive, not insecure, not desperate for control, her nervous system relaxes. Her guard lowers. Attachment grows stronger because she feels she can be vulnerable without losing respect. Many men sabotage this stage because they interpret her withdrawal as rejection. They internalize it. They let their ego speak. They say things like, if you don't want this, just say so. Or they emotionally retreat in retaliation. That is pride disguised as strength. Don't do that. Emotional maturity means you recognize patterns without taking them personally. Female psychology often includes phases of emotional recalibration. When feelings intensify, a woman may need space to integrate them. That space is not a threat to you unless you make it one. Understand this clearly. Confidence is not loud. Confidence is consistent. Confidence is calm in the face of uncertainty. When she pulls back and you maintain your direction, your routine, your emotional balance, you show her that your world does not collapse because of temporary distance. That stability is deeply attractive. It tells her that if she chooses to invest more, she is stepping into something solid, not chaotic. These are not manipulative psychology tricks. This is emotional leadership. You must also pay attention to tone. When she re-engages, don't interrogate her. Don't bring up the distance with resentment. Instead, welcome her energy naturally. Speak normally. Maintain warmth without overcompensating. This communicates abundance. It communicates that you respect her process. That is powerful in female psychology. Women are highly sensitive to emotional shifts. If she senses bitterness, she will close off. If she senses steadiness, she will lean in. Another truth most men ignore: when a woman pulls back, but still stays connected in subtle ways, liking your posts, responding occasionally, checking in lightly, it means the attachment is still active. She is not detached. She is calibrating. And during this calibration, she is observing your emotional reactions more than your words. That is why self-control is critical. Don't over-explain yourself. Don't overshare insecurity. Don't try to force reassurance. You must master your impulses. This stage is where many relationships either deepen or dissolve, not because of her emotions, but because of your response to them. If you handle her intensity with patience, she learns that her emotions are safe with you. If you handle her intensity with defensiveness, she learns that she must protect herself from you. That is the difference between temporary tension and permanent distance. To truly understand how to fall in love in a mature way, you must embrace emotional pacing. Love is not built through pressure. It is built through safety and consistency. When she tests the waters by stepping back, your role is not to chase. Your role is to remain centered. Continue your goals. Continue your life. Continue your strength. Let her feel that your presence is stable, not reactive. That steadiness allows her attachment to expand naturally. Remember this clearly. When a woman is emotionally attached, she becomes more cautious, not less. She thinks more. She evaluates more. She fears loss more. That is why her pullback can actually signal depth. But only a man who understands psychology tricks and female psychology will interpret it correctly. The average man sees distance and panics. The wise man sees distance and stays grounded. Don't let insecurity dictate your behavior. Don't let pride create unnecessary drama. Don't assume silence means rejection. Instead, observe patterns over time. Is she still investing? Is she still present in subtle ways? Is there emotional charge behind the distance? If yes, the attachment is alive. And how you respond in this phase determines whether it strengthens or fades. Calmness is not passive. It is powerful. Patience is not weakness. It is discipline. Emotional steadiness is not boring. It is magnetic. When she realizes that you do not crumble under emotional shifts, she feels safer exploring her feelings with you. That safety deepens attachment. That safety builds loyalty. That safety is how to fall in love in a way that lasts beyond infatuation. So the next time she pulls away slightly, pause before reacting. Breathe before texting. Think before assuming. Ask yourself, am I responding from fear or from confidence? Choose confidence. Choose patience. Choose understanding. Because in the delicate space between distance and closeness, your reaction is everything. And if you handle it with calm strength, you won't just keep her interest, you will earn her trust. All right, my friend, that's where we're going to leave it today. If there's one thing you take from this, let it be this. Don't panic when she pulls back. Don't assume. Don't chase shadows in your head. When someone is emotionally attached, the feelings can get intense. And intensity makes people pause. It makes them step back to breathe. That pause is not always rejection. Many times, it's investment. Be the calm one. Be the steady one. That is strength. When she goes quiet, you don't rush. When she hesitates, you don't overreact. You stay grounded. You give space without disappearing. You show interest without pressure. That balance builds trust. And trust is what allows emotional attachment to grow deeper instead of collapsing under fear. Most men lose something good because they react too fast. They let insecurity speak louder than patience. Don't make that mistake. See beyond the surface. Look at patterns, not moments. Watch consistency, not one day of distance. When you respond with confidence and emotional control, you create safety. And safety is where real connection thrives. If this opened your eyes, take a second and reflect. Have you ever misread a pullback and later realized it was actually attachment? Drop your experience in the comments. Your story might help another man see things more clearly. Thanks for being here. Stay sharp. Stay calm. And I'll see you in the next video.